For some reason, you are bored from creating components manually. With Plop.js, you could create a component from command prompts. In this week, we will go through setting up React with Plop.js. Follow along and don't forget to like and subscribe. That helps me a lot. We will start by creating React app. I will call the Plop tutorial, and then you can call it everything you want. Now it starts fetching all the packages that it needs for create React app. Then I will open it, and then I will use my favorite editor, which is VS Code for now. Make it in this screen, yes. Install a plop.js file. So you see plop.js here. I already have installed, I think. No, yeah. And then let's create a plop file. And this will be the configuration for our files. And here we will do modular.exports. And then I will use require for now. And what I required is in my config file. So this is where I will create a config file for, let's say, for plop, and then the index.js file. Create my config folder, and then a plop folder. Maybe you have another configuration, so you can insert it also here. And then I will make the index.js file for plop. Index.js, we will need some packages to handle the configuration for plop. So let's use the require for file system. So this is called fs. This is built in npm. And then also we have prettier. I don't know if we need actually to install it also, but you can also work with it even if from the VS Code. Plop.js, and also the path definitely require. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work probably. So for this, now we will start with modular export. And the function is called plop, that as a parameter, and then it will say plop.set generators or generator, and then you call it the component. I mean, what you want to call it, and then it will take an object with a prompt, and this prompt an array, and then it will take every object. Now this object will have some parameters, which is like a name, and this name is like an ID for this object, and then the type of your name. So the type is definitely, it will be an input because you expect an input, and then the message, and the message it will be the question. I don't know why they call the message. It will be better to be question. So name of your component. Oh, component is better. And then with a question mark. Now this object will be your questions. So I will just do like this, and then I expect in the other one it will be like is container, and then this will be a confirm. It means true or false, and the message it will be like, is it a container? And then you're expecting true false. You can also put something like default is false, and then inside the message you said, okay, this one it will be default is no. List of options, so copy and then paste, and then this will be the type of your component, and it is type of list, and then the message like which type of, let's see, which type of component do you want, and then you have choices prompt. So this will be my choices, and my choices take an array of all the choices, and every choice has a name, and I will call it like, okay, is it called function? Wait, sorry, what is that? Yes, so name of your choice, and it will be like it's a function. Is that a function component? I always have problem with this one. And the value, and the value I will put like, is it just fun for now? And then you will have the same with the name. Is it stateless function? And that's not nice, like this stateless component. And then the value is stateless, and the same for others. So name is stateful component, and then the value is stateful. I will use an array for these, and then we'll see if this included or not, like static. So I will say const stateful is type of stateful, and then the same with these guys. So, and then function, and this one is with, so I have a function, fun, and stateful, and stateless. And I will change these guys to fun and stateless, and also stateful. Our object, and that will call name, and this is well I include a pure component or not. So the type is confirm. I think you got used to it now. So, and message is, do you want your component to be pure? And by default is false. And but I can include another attribute here, where I can say, okay, this will take a function, and it will return the type that I got from here. So I will say, okay, get me the type, and when is it true or false? So I will say, okay, if stateless, so if a stateless or full which is stateful, includes my type, and that will make sure if these include my type by array. Now I will go to another one, and another one it will be index file. So I will explain this later because this one is really like complicated in the beginning if you want to understand it, but it's really later will be really clear if I explain it later. So I will take this as a checkbox. So actually it's not a checkbox, it's append. I will call it append index, and the type it will be also confirm. Why did I do this? Yeah, it will be confirm, and then I think you will understand it like from now. It will be add and export to your index.js, and that will be question, and by default it will be doing this, and then I don't need this one. This one also I will do also one for styling, and for styling and readme file or maybe test file. So I will call it here is a let's call it options maybe. Yeah, options is a little better. And then I will call this one is type of checkbox, and then the question, so add, or maybe what do you want to include? Maybe, I don't know, what do you want to include? It seems like obvious. Then I will go and I say by default is take maybe the style. Now this style, it's like also a key gets from my options, my choices. So I need to say name is style, and actually it's not a name, it's a value style. It's a value style, and then the name it will be like a style component. I don't know, you are free to call it anything you want. So I will put the name also for another for test file, maybe test file, and then the value will be also test, and then I will go take a name for readme file. So this one is really specific for Styleguidist. You might be thinking to add some another file for stories with extension stories inside your component. That will be easier, but this one is for Styleguidist, which is I did in a tutorial the last week about it. So this get really handy sometimes, so you don't need to every time to create your component, and then yeah. So I think my actions, so for actions is taken property actions, and this is the function where it gets extract all the names from prompts, like the name, the type of, and then the pure, and then options. Also append index we included, and is a container, and this is in function. First I will get actions, an empty array of actions, Also I will get something called target, so where I can use this target every time. And for this target I will take output target. I didn't create this one yet, I will create it shortly. And also I will take it with a name, so this will make sure that the target will be the output that I want and also with the same name. So I will put this, for example, it will be like for source components, and then let's say component name, like this. So you get the idea. So for this, now I will check if it's a container, because it's a container is in true false as we did, and then I will take functions dot push. So what I push is the type. What do I need? I need, if it is a container, I need to add something, so the type of add. And then the path that I need, also the path will be a container, so I will include this also. So container path, and also with the name. And like there is a convention to put the names with the container, so I will always do it like this, so everyone will know that it is a container. Oh, what is this? That is a container. So this is a container and it will be JS. And the other attribute, this will be the my template, because you could also put a template file where you say, okay, get me the template of this one, like I don't know, so template path. This one I haven't created yet, so I will create it shortly also. And then go to name of container JS class plopjs, so plopjs, and then the data that you want. So the data, it will be an object of actions and also an extra actions actually. So I will call it super class, and the super class will be like, if it's a pure, then put pure component. So Plop.js will understand what the React class, and then it will include the pure component or the component, so or the component. So that's it for if it's a container. Create our targets, because we didn't define this variables yet. So let's go above and define it. So const output target, and then output target will be path dot resolve, and it will be resolving this. So directory name, why it's not showing directory name, no problem. And then go to this folder directory, so directory name, and then go to the source directory, because it goes from this file to above and above, and then go to the source and components. So this is the specific components output target. Now I will make another one for container path, and then instead of components I will use just containers. Another one for template path, and then for template path we just need to say, okay, get me this maybe from directly, because I will include the template files inside this directory. Now I will go more step. Now if it is a container it will do this. I will also go made a mistake here, because if it is a container then do this, otherwise it will take like here. So I need to say if it's not is a container, then do actions dot push. Now here I will I'm saying like what type of component that I need to push. So the type it will be also add. Now this for specifically for component, dump component I mean. And then I will use also my template here, so target not shown, target with index.js, and I have template file, and then I will say get template. Now this one I will define it later. And it will take the type and it will get me the template file that I want, because I will make more than one template file. Data, and then you say style, because I need to add styling, so I will say okay, options dot if options includes style, and by default this will be always true. So and then super class maybe, and then if pure, I will take this one from here. So if it pure, then or otherwise extend component. If has a state also, I can access to the state, and then I will say if the type equal to stateful. So this is for component. I'll write down component, and this is for container. And inside it I can add a pinned index. Paste, no. So for a pinned index I will use also the same, just maybe if append index, then actions dot push, and then so the type as we defined is called append, and then it will take the path, and my path is output target, and it will take the index, and also I will add template. So as we said, we have template and we have a template file, and here I will use export default as name from, and here we use this one, and then pass a name like this. So that's for append index. And test files and readme files, and also we didn't have create this function, but for the rest I will copy my configuration because it will be the same as this one, and then you can take a look at it. So it will be options includes styles, and then it will be add, and then it will take the target, take the name, and then style as a path, and then it will take the template file from this one which is not created yet, and also take the target readme file, and then this all the same. There is one step that we didn't finish, which is if there is we need to also to prettify, so actions dot push, and then I will say, but here I will push a function. Actually I will push a function. I will take the files from there. I will say find files. So find files is not created yet. I also will create it with a target. Find me a file, and then take the target and say append index. I will make a loop here. Of files, and for every time I actions dot push, I will push an function where it will format every time my file. Otherwise I can do something like otherwise return, like find a file format. I will do this one. Found files dot length to format. So this will make sure it will format the file. Otherwise it will say, okay, there is found 0 file to format. And in the end, for all of this, in the end we need to return the actions that the array that we did it. So we say return actions array. Yeah. Now we still we have some unfinished this step, because we still have problem like with get template for this one. So get template, actually it will send the type, and then it will just loop all of the array, all of the types, and then it will return the file template. So I will go up and then say const get template. It will take the type, and then it will loop. So if stateless or stateful includes my type. So if they are include my type, I just return, because I need to specifically return specifically template for all of them. So I will say return. So which file that I need template path with index.js to class.plopjs. Otherwise return this one. index.js function dot plopjs. So I'm just make sure if there is a stateless. I mean not stateless. It's the stateful. Includes the type, then return the class type. Otherwise, it will return the function type, which is a dump function type. That's one. Also, we have find files. Now for find files, we'll take the target and the append index. I will just copy it and then put it and also here. So it will take the target and the append index, and it will check for the target that comes from down, and then it will check if it exists or not, and it will return the files. There is also something you need to know, which is this one, the format, and the format is just a prettier, and what I do, it's just a async function. So I will also go up and then best it out. So maybe you might be to stop and then go through all of this, and you also need to install a prettier as a dependency in your project, otherwise it won't find it, and also it will say it will throw an error here in required. To do one is creating the template files like this, the index.js function happy's, I don't know, it's called happy's, and also for another files, and we need just one more thing, but let's create this first. So I will go this one inside my plop, and I will go to this one, like copy and paste. For now, and there is also the component. So copy and the class type. And then you have a readme and the style and the test file. So this is just they are just template files. It will be used, it's just like a string, like a readme file, also markdown file. I mean, it doesn't have any JS. So for example, I will go through the simple one, which is the function. Where is the function? There's a class function, this one function. So it will take this as a parameter, and I will say, okay, this means there is if condition like this, and then say if style, it's called the style because we call the style, then do this one, import style. You might be change the name also, style from this one, and then you use these parameters like to find the style. So maybe style.sus, and then if you finish from the if condition, you need to do like this, and then if is finished. Also I will take import react from react, and then I'll also put some maybe comments here So it will take just a comment the name of the component. And then I will have the name of the component, which is, I will say name is equal to function, and sorry, what is it is a function that will return maybe a paragraph for now. And then I will put also if condition here. So if, and then say if style, then class name equal to style dot element. You might be thinking to change this one later. And then I will, my if condition is finished here. And then I can put children as a child props, and then I will have children here. So as you see, this is not formatted, but when the created file, it will be formatted as well. So by a prettier that we configured already. So export default, and then the name of the file. So that's just a simple example for a template. So for the readme, I will just copy what I did before. So for the readme, I will put this one here. Like it will take the component, and then it will say JSX and hello, my name component. So something like this. And for the test, it will go like this, and then take the test file, and then it will take import shallow and enzyme. You might be already configured enzyme and with the jest, and then it will describe, and then it will make a shallow for the first test. So it will be ready for you actually. And for styling, I don't know for you guys, but for styling it does not that much, but this is element will be taken from the class styling. And for container maybe it takes a lot, but this is depends to you and what's your configuration for your project file. And for what still yeah, the class. So for the class, actually we'll take this one, and then we'll see this one is here. So yeah, that's it for the templates, and let's go for the more thing to do, which is creating our components directory. If you remember, we referring to this component, and also we creating index file here. So this index file where all the components will be exported from. So actually Plop.js will not create this file for us. So yeah, I think that's it, and then let's try it out. So I will say plop, and then take button. And is it a container? No, by default. And it is stateless? Yes. And do you want your component to be pure? No. Add and export your index file? By default, yes. And then also the files that we need, and then we're good to go. So as you see, it will export the default button from button, and also it will create a button from here with all the files, the styles, and the button and index, and then you can change the names and all the configuration as you like. And if we create also a container, so it's name of your container, let's say also button, and then is it a container? Yes, this time yes. And then actually these questions will be ignored even if you choose anything, so it doesn't matter, just enter. Even if you do add styling and Styleguidist, it will be just creating one file, which is button container inside my containers. So this is the container, And if you yeah, and that's it, I think. If you are if you are already configured Styleguidist with your project, or maybe storybook, you can also run a storybook, and then it will take this for Styleguidist, it will take the readme file. For stories, maybe you might thinking to add some extension like index.stories.js. So yeah, that's it for this week. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and share and like.